Hello, my name is Emily Foster. I'm a librarian in the Oakland History Center at the Oakland Public Library. Today I'm going to be telling you about city directories, which you can use online. So first we will find where to get to the city directories for Oakland. If you go to the library website, oaklandlibrary.org/OHC, you'll get to the Oakland History Center's page, which we're looking at right now. Just scroll down a little bit here. On the left, there's a link to Oakland City Directories. That takes you to this beautiful list here. All of the years listed on the right side here are different years of the city directory. Some of them are not links, and that's because we have print copies of those available in the Oakland History Center, but they are not available online. The ones that have been digitized were done through San Francisco Public Library, so thank you to them for doing that. And there's a couple of other reverse directories, which are a different type of directory, also available online. We'll go over those two a little later. Basically, city directories work a lot like a phone book, so you can look up names of people or companies and find them either alphabetically, or for the businesses, you can find them in a classified section as well. So let's look at just one of the early-ish city directories, 1874. Here it is on the Internet Archive. So probably the most common thing you'll do with a city directory is search for a person's name. So I will show you how to search inside this book. First of all, you'll notice there is a search field up at the upper right. You do not want to use that one because that will search all of the Internet Archive, which is like thousands and thousands of books. If you want to search inside this particular directory, you want to instead use this search field over here on the left side. So you just click that magnifying glass and it pops out. So we can search for whoever we want. We'll search for Foster, since that's a great beloved last name. So then we'll get our list of results here. We can click on any of these to see the people with that name. You can see there are 9 results, and if we want to see all of the results, we would just use the arrows sort of right below the pages here to skip to the next result. It highlights which one you're on or goes to the next page. And yeah, that's probably the most common thing. In a city directory, you will find a little bit more information about people than you would in a phone book. I'm actually going to go to a later year to show you that a little better. But while we're on this year's directory, I'll show you some of the other stuff that's in city directories. Usually at the beginning, especially in the older directories, there will be sort of a narrative section. There's a lot of nice advertisements which can give you some info about different businesses that were around. And eventually we get to the actual directory. Here's the title page. So this one is a directory of Oakland and Alameda. A lot of them also include Berkeley, Emeryville. But what I want to show you is this sort of prefatory and introductory material, which includes a lot of kind of narrative information about the city. So it gives you a pretty good idea of what the city was like in that year, because it talks about lots and lots of different topics. Some of the newer directories don't have as much of this, but almost all of them will have listings of like city government, churches and schools and clubs at the beginning, with sometimes a little bit of information about what that organization does. So yeah, that's another cool thing in city directories. So I'm going to skip to a different year. We'll go back to our list. Let's try 1928. And I'm going to skip to the the alphabetical section just listing names, because there's a couple things here that the formatting gets different when the population grows, so there's more people around. So another thing you can do here is if you don't search, you can just page through the book. This dot at the bottom, you can drag around or click on the bar to change pages. You can use these arrows here to go one page at a time. And I know you can't probably see this very well, so you can use this zoom to zoom in. And we will just talk about whoever we have landed on. So looks like Scott is here. So this is the last name and then first name or initials. One thing that's not always obvious to people who haven't used phone books a lot is that they don't list the last name for everyone who has the same last name. Instead, they use these ditto marks. So all of these people below the name Scott have the last name Scott. So Caroline down here and Charles are Caroline Scott and Charles Scott. Another thing to notice is that there are a lot of abbreviations. So when you're searching for a person's name, if their name is something like Benjamin, William, George, even Andrew, they've got it abbreviated. So if you type in Andrew, Andrew, you're not going to find him. So it's better to just type in the last name and then scroll down the list to see if you see him. Also, a lot of people use initials rather than their full name. So the best way to find people is to just search for the last name and then look at the list of names. When you are looking at the list of names, you'll see some additional information about people. Here's Robert E. Scotland. There's someone whose name is in parentheses next to him. That's his wife's name, Mary L. It also shows that his occupation, he's a cook. There's an address with a H in front of it, which means he's the householder, or he owns the house 1728 11th. If you don't see any street or avenue, that means that it's the street. If it's avenue, they have written avenue in. Sometimes this will also tell you like the name of a company that the person works for or their job here up here. Wallace B., married to Edith Scotchler. Wallace is the president of Addison Corporation. His home is at 568 Mira Vista. If you see one like this, Abby Scothen, a student with an R in front of the address instead of an H, that means she's a renter or a roomer. So she doesn't own the home, but she is living there. A lot of the directories will have Oakland, Berkeley, Alameda listings all together on the same page, and there will be a capital letter at the end of the address. Like you see a lot of B's here for Berkeley. There will be, here's A for Alameda. And if it doesn't have a letter like that, then you know it's Oakland. So that's the basics of looking at people. The other thing is there are a lot of abbreviations used, and there is always a key to the abbreviations at the front of the directory somewhere. Usually if you just search for abbreviations, you'll see it. But things like the jobs and like STDT for student, CLK for clerk, sometimes they're kind of obvious and other times you might need to look at the key. But there is a key at the beginning. So then there's a classified section, usually towards the end. Right to the A's. And using the classified section, it works the same as a phone book. You look for your category alphabetically. Sometimes it takes a little considering what category they might have used. And then you can see all of the retail bakers who are operating in Oakland, Alameda, and Berkeley in this year, which is kind of cool. There's so many. And there's all the barbers, the banks. yeah, so that's that. Some of the older directories do have separate sections for Oakland, then Oakland Classified, then Alameda Classified. But for the most part, once you're into the 20th century, they are more combined, like this one is. We will go back a little bit to look at the reverse directories as well. So the reverse directories, the links are on this paragraph in the left. The ones that are available online are ones that we actually don't have at the Oakland Library, so they can be viewed online, luckily. But we do have others in print that have not been digitized. So again, it takes us to the same Internet Archive kind of page. The reverse directory is one that is organized by street name. So if we go somewhere in the middle here, we'll get to names of streets starting with L. And then we'll zoom in a little. Here's Lily Street in Oakland. All of the house numbers are in numerical order, and the names are the names of the people who live there. These are the phone numbers on the right in a different format than we're used to seeing now. If it's a longer street, it will have the cross streets listed, like on Lincoln Avenue. You've got your cross street, Haight Avenue. There's only one building between Haight and 3rd. So all your cross streets are listed. If there are apartments, all of the different people living in the apartment building will be listed, which is kind of cool. So yeah, this can be a good resource for not only looking up people or like a specific building, but getting an idea of what, like if there's a business district or something, and you want to see like what were all the businesses that were there, this is a great way to find out because it just lists everything that's on a certain block right next to each other. You can also basically search this directory as if it were a regular city directory, or vice versa, search the city directory as if it's a reverse directory, because we have full text searching online. So for example, if you wanted to search for someone's name in the reverse directory with the print version, you can't really do that very easily unless you have an idea of where they live. But in the online version, you can again just use this to search for someone's name, and it will take you to their address. So in the city directory, you can also search for an address. Like here we've put 316 10th, and we got 3 results. So we can go to any of those, see who was there. A grocery was there, and a miner lived there, and a carpenter and contractor lived there. And notice that I used quotation marks around the street number and the street name. And I looked at this in advance and saw that all of the numbered streets are spelled out. So you have to kind of look at how they've used the notations to find things effectively. So that's basically it for the city directories. I will say we have in our physical card catalog in Oakland History Center, we have indexed the advertisements for these. So if you are ever looking for specific businesses, often you can find a little card for them that tells you which page in the city directory has the advertisement, which is kind of cool. It will save you a little time of going through every single year to find an advertisement, because not every place advertised every year. But for the online version, that's about it. Again, go here to start, oaklandlibrary.org/OHC, then click the link to Oakland City Directories. If you have any questions, please feel free to send us an email, eanswers@oaklandlibrary.org, and have a great day.